Hello, everybody. Okay, so for those that know me, my name's Rebecca Fisher. I'm a spiritual medium, clairvoyant, hypnotherapist, and I have been a doula for about 18 years. I'm not actively doing births at the moment, but I have walked the path of being a doula, a childbirth support with women and their partners for many, many years. So that's just a really brief little introduction for those that don't know who I am. I'm natural born. I've seen, sensed, and felt spirit from my first memory is 3 years old. I have 4 children. They all have it. I did get this from my father's side of the family as well. Got passed down this way. And I've been reading professionally now for nearly 20 years, and I have walked the path in terms of the spiritual path for a very long time, but in terms of actively studying and practicing rather than it just being all intuitive based since the age of 18. So it's over a little bit over 30 years now. So again, that's just a little bit about me, and I thought I'd pop on and give you what I'd like to call the hump day reading. So I just thought I'd just do a tiny little reading. I am available for in-depth sessions. So you can just click on the link to book a session. So this is quite perfect. This is the Nine of Wands. To me, this is often a transition card. So for many of you that may be feeling a little overwhelmed or a bit stuck, then this is letting you know that you're nearly there. It's quite a good card. The Wands also does represent the energy of fire, so taking action on something. So even if you're feeling a little stuck, you're soon going to move out of that feeling of being blocked or stagnant and actually take action and move forward. A part of inaction, I'm learning, it's all a part of being human, and the human experience. So, please don't be harsh on yourself if you're feeling blocked or a little bit stagnant. Sometimes as human beings, we don't really shift our consciousness until we're completely over something, okay? So that's certainly been my experience holding a therapeutic and very, spiritual, mindful, sacred space for people for many years. So, and it's certainly something that many of my mentors and gurus in the past have also spoken about. We quite often won't move or shift as human beings because we find change a little bit difficult. So if you're struggling with a bit of change, it's okay. So this Nine of Wands is indicating that even though perhaps you feel a little bit battle weary, that an end of a cycle is coming. So that's quite a positive card for those that are struggling at the moment. And again, sometimes struggle isn't all bad. Sometimes we're, in the aspect of birth, I would often say this is a woman that's about 9 centimetres dilated. She's nearly at that 10 centimetres where the energy shifts, and then she gets that urge to push that baby, and release the baby out of her body and into her arms. So again, that's a whole wonderful process if any of you have had babies or been involved. And often we give birth all the time as human beings to projects, to relationships, there's this whole energy of progression and cycles in the human experience. So it is important to sometimes sit and reflect, and my guide right now is giving me the clairvoyant symbol of a butterfly. So you can ask yourself intuitively, where am I at in the process of transformation and change? Am I in that really, that little larva stage? Have I got to cocoon myself? Am I at the butterfly stage? Or I'm ready to flutter and fly and be free. It's very important to ask your higher self, or that direct the questions to the subconscious, the storehouse, the storehouse of limiting beliefs, but it's also the key to transformation, empowerment, self-realization, and change. It unlocks the unlimited power and potential of your own soul. So that's why it's important to get out of that conscious think tank and come down, into the seat of your soul and ask yourself some important questions, and then be patient, which is also part of this energy, the resilience and the patience that's actually required so that you can fulfill the mission, okay? So you can fulfill your goals, so that you can realize that potential, or that dream, that project, that relationship that you've been working on. Could be a house that you're building, any and all of those things. So the next card is the Tower. So again, there's, been some planetary alignments that are quite intense. And sometimes I think I don't want to read another astrology report because something's always happening. And again, in all these years of holding therapeutic space and helping people spiritually, mentally, and emotionally through the various transitions in life, there's always going to be something to work on, to master, to learn how to balance, so long as we've got a body. Okay. Many people have come to me and they've had these peak states of awareness or peak states of experience, and we cannot sustain the peak state. We're not meant to, because we're meant to progress, and we're meant to, realize those gifts of that realization, utilize them in the next stage or period of growth within our lives, and then we have another realization. And hence we have, when you reach enlightenment or self-actualization or awakening, that's just the beginning. Okay, you're going to have many, 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 many moments of awakening and realizations. Okay, just thought some of you may need to hear that. And the Tower card is very much a part of that. It's very much a part of our human experience, where we're perhaps out of left field. Or then, in astrology, we could have had a Uranian shift change. And the other part of that is sometimes Saturn can feel very, can block us. It can keep us in a little bit of a holding pattern until, I guess, we've mastered the lesson, or we've taken some wisdom and applied that in a situation, therefore learnt the lesson. It's not my belief that this whole world is constructed in terms of predestiny to learn lessons. I believe that as part of being our consciousness evolving, it's our choice to learn. It's our choice to choose wisdom over reaction. Okay. And with the Tower, it can be a crisis of faith, it can be a sense of loss, it can be a significant change. However, this change is there we can use change constructively, just like we can use anger constructively. It doesn't have to be all-consuming. We can find the silver lining in the cloud, so to speak. And in a sense, this is what will help to clear whatever is not working in your life anymore, to bring about change, to bring about something better. The Tower is all about things, false beliefs, shifting, misconceptions being cleared, perhaps, you've matured. What used to work for you is now no longer working for you. So it's about, applying a different approach, having a different perspective. Sometimes as well, it can be that the person that you care about is actually going through significant change, and hence that's why they're a little detached, or they're not so emotionally accessible to you. They feel distant, they've got a lot on. So for those of you that are perhaps this is not relevant, it might be relevant for somebody that you love. So please, please, please give them a bit of a wide berth and have some compassion at this particular time, and understand that sometimes people, in order to support them, we need to just be there and hold space. We don't need to go in there and do the work for them. I know as an empath, and many of my clients are empaths, that we like to problem solve, and sometimes the person's trying really hard to find their own solution. So in a way, that need to try and help someone can actually push someone away. Okay, so I see that a lot in the nature of an empath, where sometimes all of that wonderful heart energy is overly invested in trying to solve problems that are actually belong to the person that you care about, and that having compassion and awareness, and yet getting on with you, and perhaps just checking in or giving them space if they require it, doesn't mean they don't care about you, or that they don't need you, or that you're not valuable to them, or that they just that they don't love you. So just be mindful at this time of any of those good old triggers around abandonment or rejection. I highly, and that coming back to my guides bringing me up that energy of the cocooning at that point. You might need to cocoon yourself, white light, go for walks, listen to good music, understand that it's part of the process, okay? And if there's any really deep-seated issues, then obviously you're welcome to book a session, energy clearing, hypnosis processes to really work on those rejection and abandonment wounds, or just simply a session to understand where that other person is at, so that you don't take it personally, okay? And don't try to micromanage the relationship out of fear, and fear that you've either done something wrong, or because they're not communicating with you. Okay, and quite often this card in terms of relationship can mean that, the decks are being completely cleared, so that you can welcome in that person that is, a life partner, that's a significant other, that is the person that's going to really rock your world and your universe. Okay, so I just thought I'd do one of my soul cards. This is a very brief reading for the middle of the week, letting you know that it's going to be okay, and that to help empower yourself through the process. And this is the card of creativity. So again, as we move through transitions, it's important to see if we can shift our own perspective. Again, have that conversation with our soul or higher self, same. And also look at ways to creatively resolve conflict and tension, or just sometimes we feel like we've got to wait for people. So perhaps too, it's also, and for those that are creative, it's getting back in touch with your creativity, re-inspiring yourself. Creativity doesn't necessarily mean we all go off and start painting and composing music, but it may be to clear your space, create the space for something beautiful to happen in your life. If the old and tried ways are not working, take a step back and find a different alternative creative way to approach the situation. Okay. The other part of the creative card is this is, for me personally, this is not coming from the guidebooks. I don't read the guidebooks where oracle books are concerned half of the time. I use my intuition. Is play around with some color therapy. Again, color therapy, have a look at your chakras as well. If you're feeling a little bit blocked around your, the sacral, which is part of the seat of the creativity, that's the orange one. So, having a bit of color therapy to help activate the chakras. Sometimes we feel blocked in the mind. It's interesting because, that in a sense is quite also connected to the solar plexus. So it's the yellow color. And often when people are really using their intellect, they've got a lot of yellow in their auric field. I'm in green today for me. I've got aquamarine on. This is my Moldavite. So again, coming back into the heart as well, really honouring what you're feeling. Honouring our feelings also creates the space for authenticity. It creates the space for genuine connection. It creates the space for genuine communication. Okay, coming back to the heart. And quite often it's not necessarily what we think that's blocking us, even though we get stuck in that monkey mind, that consciousness. It's actually what we feel. So sometimes it is about really coming back and connecting to the heart and journaling and going for walks, using our time rather than getting stuck in this sense of, bogged down in the head and living out of the head and overthinking. Particularly empaths, as much as they feel, they then can overthink and overanalyze. And then there's this racy, charge to try and solve problems, which can then sometimes inadvertently push partners away. So again, if this is sort of going on in your relationship area at the moment, or you've got a woman in a cave or a man in a cave, just let them be. And again, you're a wonderful, beautiful, creative being of light and love. Use your natural intelligence. Come back to natural intelligence, your intuition, the voice of your soul. To get you through, and not just to get you through in that survival way, but to thrive. Okay, so many people I know that have never picked up a paintbrush in their lives and are highly corporate people, they think laterally, they think outside of the square, they balance their left and their right brains. Okay, so it's really, really important to have that sense of balance in your life. I truly hope this has helped you. There's going to be a link there for you to be able to book a session. And if you feel like you need some extended guidance or would like to book in for a hypnotherapy or healing session, which I do many of and have for the last nearly 20 years in a birth capacity, as well as a emotional, spiritual, well-being capacity, mental health, empowerment, shifting blockages. Done a lot of inner child healing with people as well. So, because sometimes the blockage can be around our abandonment and rejection issues, go all the way back from, into childhood, where perhaps we weren't able to really voice or feel safe to be ourselves. So I love doing that deeper soul transformational work, and I love working with empaths. Being one myself, it's been quite a journey to understand my own nature and then to help others also understand their own. So have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will be posting again next Wednesday. I'm going to call it the Hump Day readings, and there will be to the best of my ability, a weekly reading on my YouTube channel. And for those that have not subscribed yet, for the whole month of June, there will, whoever subscribes is going to go into the draw to win a free 15-minute reading. Take care.